Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Still with you on today's edition of Cairo Local Time. And of course, as we're celebrating the festive days of Eid al-Fitr and the long vacation that all Egyptians are getting, chance for families as well as tourists to enjoy travel all over Egypt and visit many different touristic sites. Also, it coincides with the warm weather that we're having, so lots of beaches were also open and available to receive guests thanks to the sunny and hot temperature. We're now delighted to be joined over the telephone by our guest, Dr. Yahya Abdelkader, the tourism expert. Dr. Yahya, very good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon to you, Ms. Angie, and wishing you happy Eid.
Likewise, Doctor. Thank you so much.
And to Muslims and Arabs worldwide.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Doctor, to you and your family as well. Let's start off by discussing some of the places that are most commonly visited, not just by tourists, but by domestic tourists, the Egyptians themselves, during such a long holiday that we are experiencing now with the Eid al-Fitr.
Well, actually, the Egyptian resorts, like of Alexandria, Port Said, and North Coast are really, fully booked, like of local visitors, and international resorts, like of Red Sea resorts, Gada, Masa, Alam, and Sharm el-Sheikh, are packed, with local visitors, with regional and international travel groups as well.
Indeed. How does this weather that we're having allow for the easier travel and the different variety of destinations that have become available for visitors during this time of the year?
Well, really, we enjoyed, a very fair weather, during the month of Ramadan, and we're still enjoying it. And remember, 2 weeks ago, the whole of Europe and the world was celebrating Easter, and we received, hundreds of thousands of visitors coming to major tourist attractions, like in Upper Egypt, in Sinai, and in Sharm el-Sheikh and North Coast as well. So this fair weather really is very, inducing to attract world visitors. And for the Eid events and festivals, we have hundreds of Arab visitors who come to spend their vacations in Cairo, Alexandria, and major metropolis.
Indeed. Right. Dr. Yahya, let's talk a bit about some of the sites in Cairo. Cairo, of course, attracts very huge amounts of people and visitors in the holidays, especially during Eid al-Fitr. Lots of traveling, people coming to spend time with their families, etc., from different governorates. What are some of the most popular places that are visited during the Eid al-Fitr vacations? We've seen already parks, lots of archaeological sites and museums. Plus, of course, the Giza Zoo, which has had over 55,000 visitors over the last 48 hours alone. So could you tell us a bit about some of the areas that are very popular during the Eid al-Fitr visits?
Well, really, downtown Cairo, and the Islamic part, of Al-Fustat and Khan Khalili and Azhar becomes, very, packed with visitors. And then the major parks that we enjoy, the Azhar Park, the Fustat, gardens and the Giza gardens and all the parks we have spread, all over Egypt, it will be jammed for a whole week at least of Egyptian families celebrating, Al-Eid, the festival, and a week ahead of that, Egyptian Christians were celebrating Easter as well.
Yes.
So really we had an extension of 2 weeks of total celebrations that attract local visitors and international one as well.
Indeed. Why is it do you think that places like parks, the Giza Zoo, for example, are such big attractions? And this has been, ongoing for years, over the years, really.
Well, we had, the Giza, recreation facilities, and, international zoo has been established nearly over 150 years. So it became part of Egyptian tradition. Egyptians love so much to spend their vacations over there because children enjoy being, in the green areas and park and eat and play and exercise. And then they will become so joyful in the company of, tame and peaceful and, enjoyable animals as well. So this is one of the charm and the magic of the Giza Zoo. So really we had, excellent facilities, and we have Orman gardens and recreation facilities. So, and then we have the new real estate developments, with its public areas, that have its own facilities. So we have excellent, we have ancient, like traditional facilities, and we have the current one, and we have, like the state-of-the-art facilities as well that attract, a major, plateau of visitors from different, political categories in Egypt.
Indeed. Dr. Yahya, as you mentioned earlier, the North Coast has also seen a surge of visitors during this holiday. Also, lots of Arab visitors that have the same holiday come to Egypt to spend their Eid with their families, as well as the Red Sea resorts, Sharm el-Sheikh, Hurghada, etc. How do you see the inflow of Arab tourists as well during the Eid al-Fitr?
Well, typically, for hundreds of years, Egypt has been the hub of Arab visitors from the GCC countries and other countries as well to come and spend at least, 1 week to celebrate, Eid festivals, whether it is this Eid or the Bayram feast as well. And remember, we have international visitors coming to Egypt as well. For example, Cyprus Airlines is resuming its flights back to Egypt, and it has been, embargo for about 12 years. So this is a major, boost for Egyptian travel. We expect this summer we'll have 35% of international visitors from Germany and from Central Europe as well. So, with the pass of time, we have more groups coming from the GCC countries, from the Arab world, and from Europe, and from a variety of destinations as well.
Indeed, especially after the 2-year hiatus because of the coronavirus pandemic. Lots of visitors postponed their trips, etc., to Egypt. Are we seeing a resurgence of the pre-pandemic numbers of tourism?
Definitely, yes. We have a very excellent season this year, and Egypt really is working tirelessly to promote local travel international. For this week, they're managing, 100 flights that's going to carry over 12,000 visitors for this Eid festivals and celebrations. So this is one part of the attractions of Egypt. We like to attract visitors. And remember, this year on November 4th, we are celebrating the centennial of King Tut.
Yes.
For example, 2 weeks ago, Oxford University initiated these celebrations in the UK. And last week, the Egyptian Cultural Center in Montevideo in Uruguay started celebrating as well. So inshallah, we look forward that we have great celebrations by the culmination of the opening of the Grand Egyptian Museum on the 4th of November this year.
Indeed, very exciting event indeed, which will be really a game changer for tourism and visitors, especially people that are interested in ancient Egyptian history. Dr. Yahya, let me ask you about how the diversification of tourism and the different kinds of tourism in Egypt has really helped tourism get back on track. We've recently hosted several sports championships. Another diversification, also cultural, different events, the most recent of which will be tonight with the Maroon 5 band performing live at the Giza Plateau. How important are these diversification factors in increasing tourism in Egypt?
Well, really, travelers worldwide, they like to go to location, destination where they can enjoy, apart from the sightseeing and the cultural tourism of museums and attractions and archaeological sites, they like to enjoy life, like when we have the film festivals in Monte Carlo and Cannes and Paris, whatever. So people like to enjoy the music, the food, the shopping, the atmosphere, like mixing up with the locals. So we have been enjoying, a series of athletic, championship that has been conducted in Egypt. It has been hosted by Egypt. For example, next November, we expect to have, the COP27 of the climate change, this international one.
Yes, indeed.
And then the Egyptian opera is, is running really excellent seasons of performances and attractions and groups. And remember, in Ramadan, we had a very busy season, with the all the historical attractions. They were conducting, shows, for the Sufis, for the Malawi, and Cairo has been flourishing, this Ramadan for its culture and touristic, sites and attractions and the program that has been conducted. So really, Egypt is rich with its culture, with its talent. That's why it's a world hub for visitors from Arab world and from Western world and the international scene as well.
Indeed, and as you mentioned, Dr. Yahya, even diversification in conference tourism, summit tourism. As you mentioned, Egypt will be hosting the COP27 climate summit in Sharm el-Sheikh, the Red Sea resort city of Sharm el-Sheikh, in November. Later this year, another opportunity for more exposure of Egyptian touristic sites.
And Dr. Khair Al-Anani really is planning a rigorous campaign, strategic one, to celebrate, like the centennial of King Tut. The whole world, really will be celebrating. As I mentioned earlier, UK and Uruguay, they started the program. They're going to conduct a whole year celebrations of the centennial of the discovery of King Tut tomb on November 4th, 1922. So Dr. Anani is planning currently a major attraction that's going to match, like the Rams Avenue and Rams Fair of the Egyptian mummies, the Royal Parade from the Cairo Museum, like to Fustat Museum for Civilization.
Yes.
So this is another great event to close down the great shows and performances that we'll be doing, over 2022.
Indeed. I'd like to thank you very, very much, Dr. Yahya Abdelkader, our tourism expert and our guest for this afternoon. Thank you so much, Doctor, for your time and your insight, of course, and a very happy Eid to you and your family. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we wrap up this segment and today's edition of our show, Cairo Local Time. We do hope you have enjoyed it. Join us again tomorrow, just after 4 p.m. with a different crew. Till then, you are in the company of myself, Angie Meher. Many thanks for watching.